Hello, my name is Carla, I'm Skeletra and welcome to my video. So it's been a little while since my last video, and I guess the main reason for that is because I've been a little bit of a sad sack recently. And although the art for this video was already done and recorded and everything like that, I just haven't got around to finishing the video. And I was just not in the mood for anything creative really for the past few weeks. But I'm back on it. I'm definitely feeling the creative juices flowing and I can't wait to make more art. I'm back drawing pretty much daily and I've got quite a lot of work in progresses that are just maybe 25% of the way in, and they're all at the same stage, which I suppose is a good thing because I can get quite bored easily of doing the same thing for too long. But on the flip side to that, if I don't focus on one thing until it's pretty much done, I can lose interest in it altogether. But eventually it should result in quite a lot of art. So for this video, I set out wanting to try some new watercolour brush pens that I'd bought, and they're fairly cheap brush pens, so I wasn't really expecting much in terms of quality, but at least it'd give me an idea of maybe how to work with watercolour and see if I liked it. I think one thing I've learnt from trying out gouache and the painting process as a whole is that I would much prefer something easier, so I thought the watercolour brush pens would work better for me. There's not really much setup or stuff that you need throughout the whole painting process in order to actually paint, and compared to normal painting there's pretty much no cleanup. And what can I say? I'm lazy. So before I even started this artwork, I knew the general idea of what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to do flowers. I thought they would be kind of an easy thing to draw and then colour in, if you like. But I didn't know what I wanted to use to draw them. I didn't know if I wanted to draw them in pencil or fine liners or whatever. I did settle on fine liners, but then I knew I didn't have any fine liners that would work with water. So then I had to buy myself some of the Micron fine liners, which I'm glad I have done. I know they're meant to be really good, so I just took the plunge and bought some. They'll come in handy in the future because I actually really enjoy just drawing with fine liners. I feel like fine liners always look good in art. I've never seen a piece of art made with fine liners that doesn't look great. So the flowers that I've decided to draw for this piece were quite a random bunch of flowers that I personally like. And I think my favourite flower has to be a hydrangea, and I just had to include it because I'm kind of sad because we've just had our gardens redone and we're not able to put hydrangeas in because they're quite toxic to cats. So that's a big no-no for me. Even though I know my cat doesn't actively eat plants, he's not interested in tasting or nibbling on anything. But I just can't take that risk. So some of the other flowers include a big gerbera daisy at the bottom. There is an anemone flower just above it on the left, and then the two big similar looking ones, they're meant to be dahlias, even though I end up making them look like the typical succulent plants. And now I can't even remember what the other flowers were. So this whole piece was mainly inspired by someone on Instagram under the username Alice Loves Drawing, and she is a massive deal on Instagram, and I understand why, because the videos that she posts, she normally sort of gives you a tutorial on how to draw certain flowers, and although I haven't followed any of her tutorials for this video, they definitely inspire me to draw flowers. I've always felt quite confident drawing flowers, and I think part of it is because regardless of whether they look like the real deal, they always seem to look nice. And it proves my point with what I said earlier, in the fact that the dahlias end up looking more like succulents, but it doesn't really matter because I still think they look good at the end. And before I started to paint the flowers, I hadn't really decided on colours that I wanted to use. I just presumed I'd do more realistic colours for each of the flowers, and I did start off doing it that way, and I just quickly changed my mind and just thought I'm just going to have fun with it, because I couldn't really care less how realistic it looked at that point. I just wanted to have fun trying out the watercolour brush pens and seeing how well they blended with each other and all the different colour combinations I could create with the colours that existed. And to be honest, some of the colours in the set were not great. They didn't really look like they were supposed to look like, but I think I did good with what I had. I think the main thing I'm realising about art in general and the way I approach making art is that not everything has to be perfect, and in most cases it's better if it's not. Like, if I start an artwork and something's not going right, either I can't get the anatomy correct, or the line art isn't going the way I'd hoped, or the colouring process isn't up to scratch, like, you know, the colours aren't working, I have to realise that overall, even if there's so many different parts of it that I'm not happy with, the overall product is probably going to look good regardless. And even if I'm not happy with the end result, it doesn't really matter, because it is an end result, it is a finished piece of art, and if there's anything specific that I still really wish I'd done differently, I can then try and work on that for next time. It doesn't have to put a stopper on that piece of art, it doesn't have to be a block in the road in my art journey. It can just be a stepping stone to the next stage. And you have to remember that most people are their own biggest critic, and I know that's a cliche, but it's 100% true. Regardless of your skill or your confidence in the art that you make, there's gonna be someone out there that would love it. And just because they're not there right now supporting you doesn't mean they're not there at all. But if you don't finish that art, or if you don't post that art for people to see, you're never gonna reach that person that would love it. And I'm not saying it's not important that you should also love your own work, because I completely relate. I have so many work in progresses on my iPad and in real life dating back years that I've just stopped working on. They're just completely unfinished, and I'd never ever intend to go back to them, because I get frustrated with myself. Either something's not right and I really can't be bothered to fix it, or I don't really know the next step, I don't know how to do certain things, and overall it just hinders myself. It's always there niggling at me in the back of my head. Oh, there's that unfinished piece of art where I couldn't do X, and I still can't do X, and you know, I'm never going to attempt it because I'm always going to think about that one thing that I couldn't do before. Whereas if you finish something, and even if you can't get it right, at least it's done and dusted. You can put it out of your mind and start on something new that you're going to think differently about. You're going to have different feelings towards because it is new. You don't have baggage attached to that old work in progress that frustrated you so much that you had to quit working on it. And you'll eventually progress because the feelings you have towards new things will make you want to improve on the things that you find difficult. I think making art overall is very rewarding, but it's also really hard emotionally. I just think it's important to try and understand yourself better and the way you work. Because for me, for the longest time, if I wasn't happy with a drawing, I'd just leave it, I'd give up, I'd move on to the next thing. And that just meant I'd never improve. But I've also noticed recently that unless I focus on something until it's done, I'm gonna get bored too quickly, even if I'm happy with the work that I've done on it. So I think you have to find a balance between sort of giving yourself some slack, but also disciplining yourself to ensure that you do the work. It's just hard because, for me at least, if I'm not feeling good in general, I don't want to do the things that I love to do. I really love drawing, but if I'm feeling fed up or kind of sad and down, I don't want to do it, even though I know if I start to draw, I'll feel better. I'm definitely one of those people that thrives on routine, so if anything goes amiss, I'm stuck. Like my whole life crumbles, and I stop doing the things that I can control. But I feel like right now I'm finally getting back into the groove of normal life, and my motivation is getting back up to where it was before. So you'll see for the colour palette, I decided to go wild. And I honestly don't really think the colours go together, but overall it still looks good. I think I'll always love the blue and pink look, and for the hydrangeas at the top, I absolutely love the way I've done it. I think I've done a good job. I find hydrangeas so fascinating because there's so many different colour variants of that flower, and every time I see them, they just make me really happy. I just find it wild how you can go from like a very luscious green to the deepest burgundy purpley colours, and then the pastel shades. I just love everything about them. But yeah, I'm just really happy with how the colours look, and I think I did okay with blending and mixing them together and everything like that. I think for next time, because I've only used the water brush pen that came with this set, I think I'll try using watercolour brushes and using the pen on a palette first and blending colours that way. That might give me more of a control of where the colour sits on the page. But I'm still happy with how it turned out, and I can't wait to try using them again. I have no idea what my next video is going to be. I've got so many different types of art in progress at the minute. I do have a digital drawing that I finished maybe 2-3 months ago, and I think it's probably my best drawing that I've done so far, and I think I might make a video of that because I'm really proud of it, and I've not even posted it anywhere, but I just think I've done a good job. So Jasper's back and he's enjoying the first bit of sun that we've had this year. Unfortunately the sun has gone away again, but hopefully it will come back soon. Anyway, I just want to thank you so much for watching and I hope you stick around for the next one. Ta-ra!